WADR, promoting dialogue.
It's midday in Dakar and 1 o'clock in Abuja. Good afternoon and many thanks for staying tuned to West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting on 94.9 FM around the world on WADR.org. Welcome to Newslink. Here are the top stories. Nigeria captures two of its most wanted militants in key counter-terrorism operation.
I'm glad to inform you that we have successfully concluded a high-risk intelligence-led counter-terrorism operation, which led to the capture of the top leadership of Jama'atul Ansarul Muslimina fi Biladis, Sudan, commonly known as Ansaru, Nigeria's Al-Qaeda affiliate.
One person reported dead and scores missing after passenger boat plunges into Benin's Weme River. Burkina Faso to repatriate remains of activist Alino Faso, who died while in detention at the Gendarmerie School in Abidjan. And Côte d'Ivoire ruling party youth backed Ouattra's fourth term as opposition vows to block it.
Il faut qu'il sache que le troisième mandat, c'est illégal.
He must understand that the third term was illegal, but since it is already on the way, he should be content to complete it. I want you to tell him directly, he will not have a fourth term. Our determination is firm and unmistakable.
Please stay tuned for details of these stories and more.
West Africa Democracy Radio. It's you speaking.
Many thanks for joining our broadcast. We begin the bulletin from Nigeria, where the government says it has captured two of its most wanted militant leaders in what officials describe as a major breakthrough in the country's fight against terrorism. National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu and Niger State Governor Mohamed Bagu confirmed the arrest, which they say effectively crippled the command structure of Al-Qaeda-linked group Ansaru. Usman Omar has more in this report from Abuja.
The announcement marks one of the most significant counter-terrorism victories for Nigeria in recent years. The two men arrested are Mahmoud Muhammad Usman, also known as Abu Bara'a, the self-proclaimed emir of Ansaru, and his deputy, Mahmoud al-Nijeri, the head of a faction known as the Mahmoudawa. Both men had been on global wanted lists for years, accused of masterminding deadly attacks, including the 2022 Kuje prison break in Nigeria, the kidnapping of a French engineer in 2013, also in Nigeria, and raids on a uranium facility in Niger Republic. Nuhu Ribadu is the National Security Advisor to President Bola Tinubu.
I'm glad to inform you that we have successfully concluded a high-risk intelligence-led counter-terrorism operation, which led to the capture of the top leadership of Jama'atul Ansarul Muslimina fi Biladis, Sudan, commonly known as Ansaru, Nigeria's Al-Qaeda affiliate. The group was first formed in January 2012 with a public declaration in Kano. It emerged as a splinter faction from Boko Haram, positioning itself as a humane alternative. However, its stated aim quickly turned into attacking Nigeria.
Niger State Governor Mohamed Umar Bago was the first to hint at the breakthrough last week after Mahmoud al-Nijeri of the Mahmoudawa was arrested, praising the country's renewed security strategy under President Bola Tinubu. Civil society groups have also welcomed the development, describing it as a sign of professionalism and quiet efficiency in Nigeria's security services. Analysts say the capture of the two leading terrorists could significantly weaken Ansaru, a group that has long posed a cross-border threat across the Sahel. For Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, Usman Umar reporting from Abuja.
In Benin, a tragic road accident has left dozens feared dead during the 8th Night of August 16 to 17, an STM passenger bus traveling from Lomé to Nyami plunged into the Wame River near Cho in the Glazou area. Out of 54 passengers, only 9 survivors have been rescued and hospitalized in Save. One body has been recovered while 44 remain missing. President Patrice Talon has activated the ORSCE emergency response plan, deploying rescue and security teams to the rescue scene. Augustine Colley reports.
The incident occurred during the nights of Saturday, August 16 to Sunday, August 17, 2025, when a passenger bus plunged into the Weme River in the Collins region, carrying dozens of people on board. Interior and Public Security Minister Alassane Seydu, who also chairs the National Platform for Disaster Risk Management, visited the crash site and later provided an update on the situation. According to the mayor of Glazoué, the commune where the tragedy occurred, swift rescue efforts managed to save 9 passengers at the scene. Among the survivors, some were taken to hospital for emergency treatment. Reports indicate that the bus had set off from Lomé in Togo and was heading to Malanville in northeastern Benin. The vehicle carried Malayan registration plates. The prefect of Collins, Salu Odubu, confirmed that about 40 passengers remain unaccounted for and are feared to be trapped underwater. Meanwhile, efforts are still ongoing to ensure the rescue of those unaccounted for in the incident.
Cotonou correspondent Aziz Adam Solei's report, voiced by Augustine Colley. To some politics now. In Côte d'Ivoire, the youth wing of the ruling RHDP party has formally launched a call for mobilization in support of President Alassane Ouattara's fourth candidacy in the upcoming presidential election. The move comes in response to the radical opposition led by former President Laurent Gbagbo, who during a rally over the weekend in Abidjan urged supporters to resist Ouattara's bid. The joint opposition front, PPACI-PDCI, which unites the country's 2 main opposition parties, maintains that this would amount to a 4th mandate. Christopher Atichu reports.
At a meeting held at the headquarters of the ruling RHDP, the party's youth leader called on young supporters to take to the field. Mamadou Kone urged full mobilization to back President Alassane Ouattara's candidacy in the October polls. As a first step, he invited members to rally behind the head of state in the coming days when he files his nomination with the Independent Electoral Commission. A day earlier, the opposition had organized a mass rally in Abidjan's Yopougon district. For the PPACI-PDCI alliance, the priority is to block what they describe as President Ouattara's 4th mandate. Opposition leaders insist that a 4th term would be one too many. Laurent Gbagbo spoke on behalf of the alliance.
He must understand that the 3rd term was illegal, but since it is already on the way, he should be content to complete it. What must be clear is that there will be no talk, no dream of another mandate. I want you to tell him directly, he will not have a 4th term. Our determination is firm and unmistakable. There will be no 4th term. There will be no 4th mandate.
The former Ivorian president also condemned xenophobic remarks made during the opposition march in August 9 in Abidjan. The public prosecutor has since announced legal proceedings against those responsible for the xenophobic statements.
Reports by our Abidjan correspondent Marcel Ariston Blaise, report voiced by Christopher Aticho.
More stories coming up on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
In Burkina Faso, the government has announced that the body of activist Alain Christopher Traoré, popularly known as Alino Faso, will be repatriated Monday afternoon. His remains are expected to arrive at about 2 p.m. at Ouagadougou International Airport, where a government delegation will receive them. According to the government's spokesperson, the repatriation follows joint efforts by Burkinabe authorities and the Traoré family to ensure he is laid to rest with dignity in his homeland. Alino Faso died on July 24 under unclear circumstances while in detention at the Gendarmerie School in Abidjan, where he had been held since January on accusations of plotting to destabilize Ivorian institutions. Ivorian authorities say he committed suicide, but the Burkinabe government insists it was an assassination. The government has pledged to take all necessary measures to ensure judicial follow-up into what it calls a suspicious death. Let's turn our attention to matters of trade. The meeting between Malian and Guinean authorities in Conakry on free movement of people and goods between the two countries ended with an agreement. Bamako and Conakry pledged to remove obstacles to free movement and to better regulate transhumans. The two countries also agreed to strengthen security cooperation along their common border. Imo Eded has details in this report.
For 3 days in Conakry, the Malian delegation led by the Minister of Malians Abroad, Moussa Agtaha, held talks with the Guinean delegation headed by the Minister of Security, Bacha Jallo. The discussions focused on challenges often raised by citizens of both countries, including road harassment, illegal taxes, administrative delays, non-recognition of legal documents, as well as transitional crime and inter-community conflict affecting border areas. Both sides adopted a series of measures, such as strengthening joint controls against cross-border crime, interconnecting customs systems, sanctioning corrupt officials, and creating joint commissions to diffuse community disputes. They also committed to establishing a permanent consultation mechanism involving security forces, administrative authorities, transporters, traders, and herders. The next follow-up session will take place in Bamako at a date to be announced. Recall, Mali and Guinea share more than 800 kilometers of border.
Conakry correspondent Ali Cham's report presented by Imo Eded. Still related to issues with Mali, this Monday, August 18, marks 5 years since the military coup that ousted President Ibrahim Boubacar Keïta in 2020. Since then, the same officers, now generals, have led a prolonged transition marked by constitutional reforms, political crackdowns, and persistent insecurity. After a brief civilian-led interim government, Colonel Assimi Goïta took power in 2021 and remains head of state. A new constitution adopted in 2023 strengthened presidential powers, while political parties were dissolved in May 2025. The transitional charter now allows unlimited presidential terms until peace is restored. Although electoral reforms were passed in August to improve transparency, no election date has been announced, raising doubts about return to civilian rule. Security operations continue in the north and center, where the Malian army, supported by Russian instructors, battles jihadist groups. Political tensions also persist, with arrests over alleged plots and ongoing investigation into former officials. On diplomatic front, Mali cut ties with France, aligned closely with Russia, and alongside Burkina Faso and Niger, formed the alliance of Sahel states after leaving ECOWAS. 5 years after the coup, Mali's future remains uncertain, with no path back to democracy. In news relating to the judiciary, Ghana's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has rejected calls by the Bar Council of England and Wales and the Commonwealth Lawyers Association to reinstate suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. He insists the suspension is constitutional and will remain in place until an inquiry committee completes its work. Nadidi Tete has more in this following report.
Ghana's Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, has firmly rejected calls by the Bar Council of England and Wales and the Commonwealth Lawyers Association for the reinstatement of suspended Chief Justice Gertrude Torkornoo. Dr. Ayine insists the suspension follows the clear procedures set out in Article 146 of Ghana's Constitution. He explained that 3 petitions alleging misconduct and incompetence were filed against the Chief Justice. After reviewing her responses, the Council of State advised the President that a prima facie case had been established, leading to the formation of a 5-member inquiry committee and her suspension pending the outcome. In a statement dated August 14, 2025, the Bar Council of England and the Commonwealth Lawyers Association demanded of Ghana's president and the executive to immediately reinstate Justice Tokonu. They argued that Ghana's tradition of respect for the rule of law was at stake and pressed for fair and transparent procedures, including access for her legal representatives and a definite time frame for the conclusion of the process. Responding, the Attorney General stressed that the process is fully independent, the Chief Justice has legal representation, and government cannot interfere with the outcome. He added that attempts to halt the inquiry have already been dismissed by both the Supreme Court and the High Court, while the case is also before the ECOWAS Court. For now, Dr. Ayine says the suspension remains in force until the committee completes its work and delivers its report. For WADR, Nadidi Tete, Accra.
You're listening to Newslink on West Africa Democracy Radio, 94.9 FM Dakar. Here is a reminder of our top stories. Nigeria captures two of its most wanted militants in key counter-terrorism operation. One person reported dead and scores missing after a passenger bus plunges into Benin's Weme River. Burkina Faso to repatriate remains of activist Alino Faso, who died while in detention at Gendarmerie School in Abidjan. Meanwhile, Côte d'Ivoire ruling party youth backs Ouattra's fourth term as opposition vows to block it. Still ahead in the news, we have press review, guest interview and sport news. Please stay with us.
Fresh and breaking news all the time. Hear it first as the news breaks, only on West Africa Democracy Radio. Newslink continues.
Liberia's 27th Chief Justice Yemi Gwigi Gbesi has pledged to advance judicial reforms and strengthen the rule of law as he assumes the judiciary's highest judicial office. The 66-year-old was sworn in at the executive mansion, succeeding Justice Senyane Yoa, who retired at the constitutional age of 70. In his inaugural remarks, Chief Justice Gbesi underscored the judicial central in the upholding of justice and assured his commitment to faithfully serve the nation. From Monrovia, Abraham Parker reports.
Delivering his inaugural address, Liberia's newly sworn-in Chief Justice Yemi Gbesi acknowledged the limited progress made in judicial reforms and the serious challenges that persist within the system. He urged national leaders to give the judiciary the attention it deserves, stressing the importance of making Liberia a country of law, not of men. Chief Justice Gbesi also underscored the need for adequate financial support to strengthen the sector and promised to engage in constructive dialogue with both the executive and legislature to secure the necessary resources.
I have seen no thriving nation where the judiciary is not a driving force. There can be no tangible development without peace. This is because the rule of law is fundamental to everything. It is prudent, therefore, for national leaders to give the deserved attention to the judiciary.
Speaking earlier, President Joseph Boakai charged those commissioned, including the Chief Justice, to embody a new vision of governance that is effective, accountable, and responsive to the needs of Liberians. The president highlighted the urgent need for judiciary reform and called for a non-negotiable, fair, and equal application of justice that is transparent, speedy, and efficient.
This is not just about institutional change. Each of us, no matter which branch of government, working must live by the same ethical standard we expect of each other. I expect you alone to declare your assets and comply fully with the code of conduct.
Legal analysts say the administration's success will hang on sustained funding, independent oversight, and transparent fee structures to sustain reforms. For Newslink on WADR, Abraham Parker, Monrovia.
This is the newspaper review. Stay abreast and find out what the top stories are in your country.
This is the newspaper review.
The newspaper review.
For the newspaper review, let's join our Abuja correspondent Usman Omar for all the latest newspaper headlines from Nigeria.
This is the press review coming to you from Nigeria's capital, Abuja, on this day, August 18th, 2025. And we begin with the Daily Trust newspaper. Daily Trust leads with a striking comparison of governance costs and education priorities. The paper reports that the monthly salaries and allowances of Nigeria's 109 senators amounting to about 2.354 billion naira, or roughly 1.57 million US dollars, could pay the wages of 4,708 university professors. It's a reminder of the long-running debate over government spending and human capital development. And now we go to Sokoto, for northwestern state. The paper covers a tragedy on the waterways. At least 30 traders, mostly women, are feared dead after a boat mishap in Goronyo local government area. Daily Trust also highlights comments from the Ministry of Works claiming that no president in the past 4 decades has invested in road infrastructure as much as President Bola Tinubu. Of course, this is a bold assertion at a time when road users continue to complain about gridlocks and unfinished projects. We now take leave to join Leadership newspaper, which is leading with security. The paper reports that 62 kidnapped victims regained their freedom after a Nigerian Air Force strike targeted a bandit enclave in Damusa local government area of Katsina State, also in the northwest. The victims are said to be receiving medical attention after their escape. And now on the political front, the Senate President Godswill Akpabio has returned to Abuja, dismissing rumors about his health and assuring Nigerians that the Senate will continue with its legislative agenda when it reconvenes. And in Taraba State, the government has denied claims that it spent over 5.22 billion naira, or about 3.48 million US dollars, on foreign trips within 6 months, describing the reports as misleading. The state insists that its expenditure profile has been modest given current fiscal challenges. We now join Vanguard newspaper, which focuses on politics and security. The paper reports heightened tension in Zamfara following weekend by-elections, with both the PDP, that is the People's Democratic Party, and the APC, All Progressives Congress, trading accusations over alleged irregularities in Kauranomoda South constituency. Similarly, the APC in Anambra, that is in the, southeastern state, has rejected the result of the South Senatorial by-election, pointing to more legal battles ahead. We move to The Guardian very quickly. The Guardian leads with preparations for Nigeria's democratic future. The Independent National Electoral Commission, that is INEC, begins continuous voter registration today, opening both online pre-registration and fiscal capture centers. The exercise is expected to strengthen voter rolls ahead of upcoming elections. And that's the much we have for you on this segment as I return you back to the studios.
Thank you very much, Usman Omar, Abuja correspondent with newspaper review from Nigeria.
Politics, analysis on major news, social matters, and all. This is A Guest.
All still in our guest interview this afternoon, let's remain in Nigeria, where authorities say they've made a major breakthrough into the fight against terrorism. 2 of the country's most wanted militant leaders have been captured. A move officials says significantly disrupted the command structure of Al-Qaeda-linked group Ansarul. National Security Advisor Nuhu Ribadu and Niger State Governor Mohammed Bago confirmed the arrest, calling it a key moment in Nigeria's counter-terrorism efforts. To help us understand the implications of this development and what it means for national and regional security, we spoke to Nigerian security analyst Dr. Maji Pitax.
Well, hopefully, the arrest of these 2 leaders, hopefully, and I'm emphasizing hopefully, will weaken the structure, the leadership, the operational command, and the ability of the Ansarudeen group to strike. The leaders, I don't have much of their details. I don't know if they are tactical leaders, they are administrative leaders, or they are just part of the rank and file of the leadership. So if you arrest a strategic leader, it will take a while for the group to be able to regroup and carry out any major attack. So a lot depends on what exactly were the position of those leaders, what are their level of influence, how much influence do they have, and how are they able to use that influence. So hopefully that will slow them down. Hopefully it will give reason to others to renounce the group. Hopefully we see a reduction in their capability and ability to attack.
How significant is this breakthrough in Nigeria's broader counterterrorism efforts?
Well, first, it's very significant to the military because it will boost their morale. Morale in the sense that they will be able to say we've made a significant progress by arresting key rebel leaders, key guerrilla fighters, key opposition, key terrorists. So it will boost their morale to the Nigerian state and to the whole of the ECOWAS and the Sahel and the Lake Basin. It will encourage others to be more emboldened in fighting this group and be able to bring them to an end. So it's an encouragement. At least it's far better than hearing that they were attacked a military base or they killed 2 soldiers, 10 soldiers, or steal arms and ammunition. So I think it's a positive news to every right-thinking individual.
Could this really lead to a resurgence or a splitting of the group into smaller factions? What could this possibly lead to in terms of leadership structure?
Well, probably it could. It depends on how strategic those leaders are. It depends on if they have a succession plan in place or not. It depends on how organized they are. It depends on their determination. But in the next couple of days, we should be able to know if they are able to regroup, if they are able to restructure themselves, or every other person will go home and reunite with his family.
Moving forward, what are the likely next steps for Nigerian security forces following this development to perhaps keep up the momentum?
That is for them to consolidate. Now that they've taken out some of these leaders, they need to quickly reinforce, quickly go back to base, go back to the drawing board and go and ensure that they are picking as many leaders and followers as possible so that you don't give them room to regroup. The intelligence gathering should be in hand so that as these persons are in this arena, it's a lot easier to gather more about their information, more about their logistics and any other plan that they may have in place. I just want to encourage the Nigerian army not to give up and all democratic elected governments in Africa to continue to be engaging, involving and inclusive and ensure that governance is working and where there are pockets of resistance, that government do everything humanly possible to minimize the collateral damage to the state and to the people.
Dr. Magic Pitex is a Nigerian security analyst. Well, in sports, we begin with tennis because Senegal has won gold at the 2025 Davis Cup Africa Group 3 tournament in Harare, Zimbabwe, securing a spot in the World Group 2 playoffs set for early 2026. Despite a narrow loss to Nigeria on the final day, the Senegalese team topped the standings with strong overall performances. Led by captain Yannick Languina, the Lions continue their rise in world tennis with hopes of advancing further next year. In football, Morocco and Kenya have booked their spots in the quarterfinals of the CHAN 2024 following Sunday's final Group A matches in Nairobi. Defending champions of Morocco beat DR Congo 3-1 at Nairobi Stadium, while host Kenya edged Zambia 1-0 at the Kasarani. To top the group with 10 points, Morocco finished second with 9. DRC Congo, despite 6 points, was eliminated. Both teams now move on to knockout stage where every match is a do or die. And finally, away from Africa, Arsenal secured a 1-0 victory over Manchester United at Old Trafford, the headline class of the Premier League's opening weekend, thanks to well-executed set-piece defender Ricardo Calafiori. Scored the lone goal in the 13th minute, heading in from close range on the United's goalkeeper Altai Bayinda failed to deal with the Declan Rice corner. Arsenal's solid defense kept United's high-priced attack quiet throughout the match, even though they were very impressive. Well, we've come to the end of this edition of Newslink from West Africa Democracy Radio, broadcasting from Dakar, Senegal. Thank you for listening, and many thanks to Fali Luso and Umu Danyogo for the technical assistance. Do interact with us via social media platforms, X and Instagram at WDR News, and on Facebook, West Africa Democracy Radio English Service. Coming up at the bottom of the hour is WDR's flagship health program, World Body with Imo Edit. I am Sankule Janko. Good afternoon.
And many thanks to you for listening to Newslink via Hot 104.3 FM, Newmi FM 94.0,
Hilltop Radio 104.7 FM,
and Veritas Radio 102.9 in Banjul, the Gambia. We also appreciate our listeners in Liberia via Alternative Youth Radio 98.9 FM, Lofa County.
Radio Kagama 94.5 FM, Nibe County, DCN Radio 91.3 FM, Riverside County, Wakat FM Radio, Banga, Liberia, Radio Baf FM 91.3 Sierra Leone.
For you listening via Radio Pad 95.1 Damango, Savannah region, and on Royals FM 104.7 Wenchi, Ghana, we say a big thank you. Remember, West Africa Democracy Radio is all about you, your views, and